Hey guys, for today's Zen tip, we're going to be talking about the hierarchy of needs when it comes to how we practice our pieces. Now, the first thing we need to figure out is, why are we practicing the piece? Is the piece for performance, or is the piece for technique development? So it changes a little bit depending on either or, right? So if we are practicing for a performance, our hierarchy should look like this. We should play through the entire piece. If it's your first dry run, hopefully you've listened to it a couple times. I would play it, and my advice is not to worry about rhythm and slurs if the slurring is difficult. Just get all the notes correct. Stop and look at each note and make sure that, it's almost like you're freezing time and you're shifting to that note perfectly. We don't want to develop bad habits because if you check out my book, Cello Zen, I talk about something called the number line of habits. We start at 0, and that's not a bad place to be if you have no experience. But the more mistakes you make, the more you work your way down the negative side of the number line. So let's give an arbitrary number of 23. That's how many times it'll take to develop a good habit. So you start at 0, meaning 23 times in a row gets you a good habit that you can rely on, a comfortable shift, for instance. But every single time you mess up, you increase the number to 24, 25, 26, 27. So you don't want to do that. Do a dry run of the piece. Don't worry about rhythm. Now, the next step is to take your pencil. Hopefully you have your trusty pencil, and I want you to go to problem measures and put a little star or eyeglasses or circle, something faint so that you can erase it later. The stuff that went really well, leave it alone. No need to focus on that stuff. We oftentimes like to play what's fun and easy, but that's a waste of time. We should focus on what is challenging. So after you've done that, go through the piece, get your metronome, get your pitch drone, and work out the measures, right? I'm talking about just one measure at a time, these problem areas, okay? And I want you to hit each measure, go through the piece or movement, and then when you feel comfortable, I want you to set a metronome, make it very, very slow, then play through the entire piece. Try to get the bowings, try to get the correct rhythm, and then the things that went really well, I want you to erase where you had messed up on that measure. And I want you to then focus on the measures that were really difficult, right? And this won't happen in one practice session. I want this to happen in several practice sessions, each practice session being no longer than an hour to 2 hours. If you're at that level, if you're a brand new beginner, 15 to 30 minutes. And then, because I think anything longer than 2 hours at a time ends up, you kind of spin your wheels in the mud. Best to walk away, let your brain digest it, and come back, get the same amount of time, than just get it all done. Now, that's for performance pieces. If you're focusing on technique, if you're playing a piece for technique, for instance, a piece that specializes in thumb position, I would highly recommend just going measure by measure chronologically, looking at each measure and getting it perfectly, and then do it the old-fashioned way, which is see if you can get the first line down, see if you can get the second line down, and not worry about making it musical, but worry about incorporating the technique that you would want regardless of what technique it is. Thinking like shifting, left-hand technique, right-hand technique, things of that nature. So hopefully this tip has helped. And for more information, I would really recommend that you check out my book, Cello Zen. It goes over all this stuff in detail. It's very short, sweet, and to the point, and it's designed to be listened to repetitively. About 5 to 8 times, you'll be able to embody a lot of the information that I've taught you. If you're a beginner, beautiful place to start. If you are a mentor, or if you've been playing for a long time, this will only aid in your arsenal. You can check out the reviews. There's actually some really positive reviews on that book where people who have been playing already have benefited from it. All right, guys, hope you have a great day, and hope this was helpful, and stay tuned for more Zen tips.